I'm deeply grateful to John for sharing this poem because I've actually spent the last month living with it and reflecting upon it, and I just encourage anybody to sit with it. Um, uh, I'm going. It led me back to 1982 when I actually attended a workshop where the concept of justice as right relationship was introduced to me, and it just resonated deeply with me and has been with me all this time. And it led me to think about it's just us. Now what? How do we relate with each other, and how do we relate to the earth that is our home? And so that started back in 1982. 20 years later, Beth Mount, Tom Kohler, Ashley Brown O'Brien, and the Savannah Citizen Advocacy community, and many of the and a number of people from this group actually went on a learning journey to the beloved community in Savannah. And it was a deeply profound experience that has resonated with me ever since that time. And one of the resonance was the fact that this is happening in Savannah, but I know that there are versions of what happens in Savannah in other places, in other communities, and the richness of being able to share that would be a valuable thing. Um, Immediately after the learning journey in 2012, Beth formed a Facebook group, a closed Facebook group called the Art of Social Change. And for a little over 9 years, it has really been a place to kind of keep putting thought into what are the arts of social change? What does it mean? And it's not like a definitive thing, but it's been like people posting things that actually have some sense of meaning to them about what this is all about. And then 2020 hit and the world paused. Um, and it forced us, this group of hosts, to kind of say, what are we going to do? We were actually going to be in Toronto. But what it really was about was a year of actually exploring what more is possible if we're not in physical space together. And I think we were all very aware of the limitations, but actually presently aware and valuing what was possible that we didn't imagine was possible in connecting in these ways on the and that's got my head going. And I love coffee, and in particular I love great local cafes that are curated and designed to create a place of welcome and reflect back the arts of the community. And in December of 2020, I came up with this idea for the JustUs Cafe to create an online cafe experience, a place where people can bring a cup of coffee, tea, water, whatever, and sit and reflect or um, listen or join with other people in conversation and trying to figure out how can we do that. So over the last year, um, spent time in conversations with Patty, who got the support of the Neighbors International Board to actually validate this as good work for us to do as a part of Neighbors International. And lots of conversations with good people, in particular Beth, who has been kind of a constant supporter in thinking about this over and over. But the idea of the cafe is to create these spaces, a multi-channel space online that'll have space for profiling artists who do the work of social change, creating podcast, YouTube conversations that could be listened to, a video library, a blog, and then experimenting with interactive gatherings where people can come into a space like you might go to a cafe where there's a book club or other kinds of things. So this is all happening now. I'm going to stop because I actually have done some reflecting on this that you can go to the website, JustUs Cafe, and my particular website, davidhasbury.com. I'm actually, the blog this year, this version of the blog is actually what it means to follow this thread. And so I'm writing about how, where does this thread lead? lead. And so I encourage you to go to both of these sites and you can subscribe and stay tuned for what's possible